My advice to anybody taking on a restoration project like this would be just to go into it expecting surprises. It just will never it can't go that smoothly when you're restoring a house, especially one that's this old, that's been changed and adapted over the years, that's made of wood. So there's always going to be things that you uncover that are going to cost more money than you originally planned. So I guess, a contingency if you can. And I think just an ability to kind of go with the flow a little bit. It can be so stressful, and if you're somebody that has to work to an exact plan, then probably a Tudor timber framed house isn't the one for you. Then just to get stuck in, because the more you can do yourselves, the better, and then the more money you have to spend on the skills that you can't do. So, we're there at the weekends doing the floors and getting stuff ready for Brendan to come in and do the timber work, and we'll carry on doing things like that. And that, one of the benefits, I guess, of the pandemic, not that there are many, has been that Stuart's been at home, so he's not going down to London every day anymore, so he can put in more hours at the house. This room is the last section of the timber frame really to be repaired, so all the rafters have been done everywhere else except here. So when Brendan and Callum come back Monday, that's where they're going to start. They've taken out part of the roof already, got new timber ready downstairs to go back in, and then that's pretty much the timber frame all repaired. In this room there was a couple of pieces of plasterboard separating the attic spaces between the two houses where they'd been divided, which wasn't ideal and was jutting out into this room quite a lot, but we've been able to get access to next door. We've taken down the panels and revealed what was behind, which was quite exciting, but also been able to work out a better solution and a more effective solution for separating them. Brendan and Callum started, I think, about the middle of October, and we'd sort of said 8 weeks to get everything ready for roofing, but obviously it's taken so much longer. But just completely, trust what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They're so careful about the work that they do. They've saved what they can. They've sort of made practical decisions about what's too far gone and what isn't. So it has taken longer, but you can, when you look around the building, you can see where the time's gone, and the timber work is just what makes that house. So it's really important to get it right. They've done a great job. Still a bit more to do, and then there'll be other things later on as well, sort of in terms of finishing, when we ever get to that point.
Stars align. From the start, I was never good at waking up.
This is going to be a main bedroom with a bathroom, so we started laying out the framing to work out the space. But there's been a lot of work in here on the rafters and the purlins, so there was a lot of woodworm. A lot of the rafters were rotten, not really even meeting the wall. So there's new ones gone in where we had to, other ones cleaned up, put back. We've repurposed some of the old timbers that we saved from downstairs, and this is really ready to go, ready for the roof.
This is the job I have been given, so I'm repointing this wall here. I've scraped it all out These ones have been filled here, and here I've had to retie the wall because they didn't meet. We've had to replace a lot of the bricks because there was random gaps where there weren't any bricks.
It's quite an exciting week this week because, well, hopefully next week the stairs should arrive, new stairs, which will make it feel quite different here. These ones are going, the new ones will come up from the door and turn around, so everything's ready for them to be fitted. We're just waiting for them. The biggest overspend so far is the only stuff we've really spent, so the timber work and like repairing the frame and putting the new joists in and stuff was only really meant to take a few weeks, but it's taken a few months, so that's obviously extra cost in terms of the carpenters, but also we've had to buy a lot more seasoned oak than we imagined because the frame was in such a terrible state. So we haven't really got onto a lot of the other big spends yet, and we've already spent a lot more money and time than we thought just getting to this point. This room has been completely taken over with our store of oak and all the old timbers that we're planning to reuse. We've had our third delivery of oak, which was a lot more than we ever planned at the beginning. That's in here. There's wood for the framing. We've saved a lot of the joists and rafters that we plan to use somewhere else. So yeah, that's what all of this big pile of wood is. There's been a lot of work in here. The ceiling is now considerably higher than it was because this beam had dropped down, so we've been able to lift that up. The cowl over the door has been replaced because that was sloping down and was making the floor slope down. We had to get rid of a lot of the floor joists in here, so they were so rotten. So there's a lot of new oak gone in here. It's all been trimmed ready for the stairs to go in. So it feels quite different. And then obviously the other job is the cellar. Now we need to work out how actually to put a frame in for the glass floor and everything we imagined, which is proving more complicated than we thought. So I think we'll probably simplify our plans a little bit and just reveal smaller amounts with glass in the floor, because the practicalities of how to fit it and how to hang the floor is quite hard. So relatively speaking, it feels like this room's nearly finished. We put the new corbels in to hold up the floor joists, which were just resting on a bit of rotten wood before. So that was quite an eventful moment. We've got the joists are in, we've put a new floor on top to replace what was just full of holes and quite dangerous. So that feels good. The battens are in. On that wall we're going to expose the upright timbers that we uncovered, but insulate and plasterboard between. So that's all ready to go. We've got a new steel in, so we're going to knock through eventually into a small extension. So the steel's in and holding up the floor above. So yeah, it feels like we've come quite a long way in here, although maybe doesn't look like it. The more of the timber frame we uncovered, the more problems we found. One main problem was that this whole section has moved considerably over time, which means that this beam was no longer connected to the post split at the top, and there wasn't really much we could do apart from strap it together with steel. So Brendan and Callum did templates for steel, so these hold this beam into the post, which is quite important because it holds up the fireplace as well. And there's extra steels at the top which strap the post together where it's split, but yeah, makes it safer. Doesn't correct the lean or anything, but at least it won't move anymore. So obviously we took on restoring the house just as the pandemic started really, which has provided extra challenges. We were quite worried about things like supplies, but actually that hasn't been too much of a problem. I think it'd be more of a problem when we come to do, say, the roof tiles. Brendan and Callum have been able to carry on working throughout, so that's been great, although periods of sort of self-isolating and things when they've had tests, but generally they've been able to come and keep going, but we've not been there working with them, which is what I was doing at the start. So it's affected it in that way. But on the whole, it's not been too bad really, the impact.